Today's topic of discussion is Harlesden. So, for those that don't know where Harlesden is located in northwest London, and in the 1990s and 2000s, it was the highest murder capital in UK. So, I'm going to be discussing some key lessons that I learned growing up in Harlesden and how you guys can take these lessons as well. So, first point is murder. So Harlesden in the 90s and 2000s was the gun crime capital of the whole of UK. It had the highest murder rate in United Kingdom. So this area here was severely violent. So there was a lot of crime that was taking place, a lot of activities, and it's a very, very poor area. So a lot of crimes on the streets were taking place. So let's say in 2000s, right, before social media, all this BS social media that everything is being pushed on there, so self-snitching and all that sort of stuff. But before social media, a lot of activities that were happening on the streets weren't discussed, and they weren't recorded, and they weren't talked about. Do you understand? So during this time period, right, when it came to people associating themselves with other people, you needed to be mindful of who you associate with, because a lot of guys, right, who, let's say, involved in street activities, guys who were with them, or guys who were seen with them and they were associated with them, they got into altercations and problems as well. You understand? So what I'm seeing is time and time again with guys, right, they are trying to associate with street type guys, but they're not actually involved in these activities. You understand? So these guys are on the fence, they're on the sidelines. So you as a guy, right, you need to pick your people wisely. Do you understand? So that's what I learned growing up from a young age, to associate with people who are actually trying to become the best version of themselves. They're not getting involved in all the other street activities and all the foolishness. Do you understand? Because that's what happens. As soon as you start getting involved in those situations, then it can lead to that which is killings and murders. So then when those take place, that's it. You're looking at pretty much life imprisonment. So there's certain guys, right, who are in prison right now, for extended periods of time, attempted murders, gun charges, you name it. Because these guys here from this kind of area here, they got involved in these activities from a young age. And then it started to progress. So it started off with, let's say, robbing, and then, selling weed and so on. And then after that, it started to get to advanced. So advanced level. So in Harlesden, right, it wasn't just the regular, weed selling and stuff. It was crack. They were selling like heavy gear. And guys are young as like 11, 12, 13 years old, 14 years old. It was standard for everyone to be carrying flipping guns. Yeah. So guys who think, oh yeah, this is BS and stuff, as I said, go research it. Because real guys know about Harlesden. They know as soon as they come Harlesden, yeah, they need to be on guard at all times, because things can really kick off and escalate real quick. So I remember from young age, right, just walking down High Street, right, and then things would always be kicking off. Certain guys are getting into problems, certain altercations. It's because these guys here are not minding their own business. They're not going from A to B. And when it comes to, let's say, even at nighttime, in the nighttime, it's just like complete jungle, mate. So it was just, you have a bag of guys, so like 20, 30 guys literally on the flipping streets, yeah, in one designated area. Yeah, just doing all types of craziness, like whether it's flipping, dealing, flipping, getting into altercations with other people and so on. You understand? But as I said, if you mind your own business and you was actually somebody who was, prioritizing your purpose, you're very unlikely to get into altercations and problems. So that leads us to the next point when it comes to chatty patty. So a lot of guys, right, don't know what the meaning of chatty patty is. So I'll break it down for you guys. So this meaning is when a guy gets involved in other people's business. He talks about other people, he says X, Y, Z about them, and then it's a lot of the times just negative stuff. This is what you're seeing on social media. So when it comes to social media, people are commenting all types of stuff. These guys here are prime examples of chatty patties. Yeah. So in Harlesden, right, these type of guys were despised. Yeah. They'd get violated on a day-to-day basis. These guys here would be showing weakness. And any guys who were talking about other people's business, they just straight away get sorted out. No hesitation, nothing. So I learned from a young age, right, to not try and talk about other people's business. You understand? So real guys knew this. They knew that, oh yeah, you can't be a flipping chatty patty. So as soon as you get labelled as that, that's it. No one's going to try and associate with you, because you're just going to be getting into problems on a day-to-day basis. So especially when it comes to areas like this, when it comes to highest murder rate in the country, and then the flipping crack dealing, and then the robberies, and then everything, car thefts. So in Harlesden, right, you got, for example, Harlesden Road, right? So I grew up off Harlesden Road, so very close Harlesden Road, yeah. It's a long road, and then when you go down, you got Harlesden High Street. So down there, things were kicking off down there, and then the other side, right, you got flipping Stonebridge Estate, which comes under Harlesden. Now, if you look at Stonebridge back in the days as well, from the old blocks, it's like flipping scary blocks, mate. That right there, yeah. People weren't trying to go anywhere near those blocks there. They knew they'd just be getting into problems. Do you understand? So then that was flipping seriously dangerous as well. So you got Harlesden Road, you got Harlesden High Street, you got flipping Stonebridge Estate, you got not too far from there, Church Road as well. So then you got Church End Estate, that whole side of it, and then you got flipping Roundwood Park Estate as well. So you got Roundwood side, Roundwood Park Estate, you got all these different areas, and then on the left side of it as well, you got flipping Tubbs Road and all these other crazy parts of Harlesden. Do you understand? And it covers a lot of it. So then Harlesden, you got Stonebridge. Do you understand? So Stonebridge as well was, had a reputation as well, even right now. So Harlesden and Stonebridge, they've still got flipping high gun crime over there and high murder rates. You understand? I think it was like even Harlesden, like a month ago or so, there was like a triple shooting. I mean, one woman got killed as well. So these kind of areas here, as I said, guys who are associating with other people who are doing stuff on road here, this is what happens. These guys, they are getting into problems. So these guys who are chatty patties, talking about other people's business, X, Y, Z, they end up just getting violated in these kind of areas here. So that's what I've learned from a young age, not to talk about other people's business. And this is what women see within all these guys as well. All these guys, right, who are, let's say, talking XYZ on social media, talking about other people's business in real life. These guys here are chatty patties. That's what it is. That right there is weakness. That right there gets you into problems. Yeah, when it comes to altercations and all types of, situations. So it's really important, guys. You guys here, don't be them type of guys, right, who are just talking about XYZ about other people. You should be focused on your own business. So that right there will help you survive in these kind of areas there. So let's say if you're living in a poor area right now, you guys should be minding your own business. So then that way there, you're going to have a much higher chance of surviving in these areas. Otherwise, you're just going to be getting into problems. So next point is silence. So this is a good one. So silence, right, when it comes to doing your own business. So whatever moves you're doing, whatever activities you're doing. So you would get, for example, let's say the street guys, right? Street guys, the guys who were making the most noise, guys who were doing all types of craziness, flexing, you name it. Yeah, these guys here were getting into the most problems. Yeah, the guys who actually survived the road life and who actually made it out to the other side, after extended prison sentences and whatever, who actually didn't get killed in the process of it. These guys here, right, were actually silent with their business. They were going about their activities, doing their activities with the least exposure as possible. You understand? So this is what it is. What happens is, you'll see it time and time again. These guys here, right, who are making all the wrong moves in life, is because they're not being silent with their business. Yeah, it's not for you to disclose everything you're doing to all these different people. So let's say, for example, you've got a business, right, that you're working on, an online business. And if somebody asks you, oh yeah, how much does that generate, this and that? For somebody to ask that and ask personal questions about that, you shouldn't actually even disclose any personal information to him. because he doesn't need to know any of that stuff. Does that make sense, guys? So you yourself, you should actually only be knowing all the details about what's happening in your life and your business and so on. It's not for other people to know. You should be going about your business on a day-to-day basis, and you're just making all the right moves, and then you're just progressing each and every single day. People don't need to know all the small details about it. It's really important. So then that right there, when you're moving in silence, you're going to gain a lot more power over yourself, and then you're going to have, for example, the nights, right? So days and nights, which are going to be, by yourself predominantly. You're going to be focusing on your purpose. Does that make sense, guys? So that right there is where the most progression happens. But then you guys here are also going to be developed in other areas of life when it comes to, let's say, communication skills, being able to network with people and so on. That's also important as well, because you're able to do both. You're able to stay in your own lane and focus on yourself, and then you're also able to network with people and get on with other sets of people. Does that make sense, guys? So final point is wise. So to grow up in these kind of areas here, you need to develop being streetwise. The streetwise is when it comes to just being, somebody who's able to survive in these kind of areas here. You understand? It's not no joke. It's not what you're seeing on the internet and social media. Even right now, you'll see a lot of situations that happen in Harlesden. You won't see many videos on it. People don't record it because it's just happening too much on a day-to-day basis, and people don't record situations. They don't self-snitch. Does that make sense? Like, people don't record other people doing X, Y, Z. These are the laws which have been set in these flipping jungle type areas. Yeah. So guys, I remember from young age, I remember I was like 4 years old, right? And then I was walking home with my mum, right? And then there was a kid, right? There was a couple youths here, couple young teenagers, yeah? One of them, he must have had a phone, isn't it? So I think it might have been a Sony Ericsson or something like that. So that's when the phone started coming out. So 2004 or something like that, 2005, 2004. And then there was a group of other boys from across the road. There must have been about 4 or 5 of them or something like that. They've obviously seen him and then, got his phone out or whatever. And then literally they've crossed over the road. And then within 10, 15 seconds, one of them's already just grabbed it off of him. Yeah, and then they've just walked off, just completely just robbed him. Yeah, so then obviously that same kid, he was upset, he was crying, X, Y, Z. And then I remember looking back at it, and obviously right now you look at situations like that and you realize that guy there, if only he was just minding his own business and he was actually just not making so much noise. Because when you're making noise, right, other people are seeing you, understand? And you're bringing wrong attention on yourself. And then you get into altercations, and then you get into problems. So it's really important, guys. You guys need to be locked in, and then you guys need to become wizened to what's happening in real life. So then women see that as well, and they realize that this guy here, right, he's somebody who doesn't get into altercations and problems. So with the social media, as I said, social media is just, clown world. People are just going to talk rubbish. So in my comment section, people talk all this rubbish in my comment section. But none of them see me in real life. None of them have face-to-face interactions with me. A lot of these guys, right, who talk rubbish, when they see me in person, they don't do nothing. They don't even look in my face. They literally look down. It's just cowardice behavior. So when you've wisened up, right, in life, you're not going to be getting involved and talking about all types of stuff that's not related to you. You understand? You're going to be locked in on your purpose and your mission. So just to wrap up, murder. So Harlesden, right, as I said, Harlesden literally in the 1990s and 2000s was the gun crime capital. It had the highest murder rate. And this area here, even right now, is still considered the most dangerous area in London. Yeah, a lot of guys, right, come into this area and thought, oh yeah, we could try and do whatever we want here. They just get literally sorted out straight away, just straight checked, straight flipping killed. Do you understand? So this is why certain guys, right, coming into these areas, they need to wisen up and realize that You can't be doing the stuff what you're doing on the internet and think that you can come to these kind of areas and do the same thing and start talking all this nonsense. You're straight away just going to get into flipping problems. And then the next point after that was chatty patty. So there's these guys here, but as I said, these guys here on the internet, they're pretty much, a lot of them are all chatty patties. They're all talking about other people. They're not focused on their own purpose and their mission. You know, these guys here have got all the time in the world to do investigation about other people rather than actually developing themselves. So how can women ever respect that type of behavior? So guys who were, for example, in the streets, right? Guys who weren't getting into problems or getting into less problems, even though they were doing street activities, they weren't talking about XYZ about related to other people. Do you understand? They'd literally just be focusing on doing their own business, whether it's legal or illegal. You know, so this right here, these are laws which are set in place, you know, to actually survive in these areas. Otherwise, you're not gonna be able to survive in these areas. These areas here, right? As I said, it's not for the faint-hearted. People got into a lot of problems and a lot of altercations in these areas is because these guys are chatty patties. Yeah, they're literally just talking about XYZ about other people. Do you understand? You know, and that's very unattractive to women in general. Women hate when a guy is just gossiping and talking about other people. You understand? Women gossip with other girls amongst themselves, but when another guy is gossiping about other people, that's a big turn off. Yeah, that gives women the ick. Do you understand? So next point after that was silence. Yeah, a lot of guys don't know how to keep their mouth shut. They just talk. So the most talking that I do is in front of this camera when it comes to talking on topics related to my purpose. Otherwise, in person, right, I'm always trying to listen and trying to understand and trying to get more information. So whatever people are talking about, I'm always trying to listen. I'm not somebody to try and actively engage for majority of the time. Majority of the time, I'm always trying to listen. So around 10-20% of the time, that's when I'll be speaking. Because that's what it is with you guys as well in general. You guys here want to ideally be listening, not just to the men, but to the women as well. So get them to do majority of the talking. And then they'll be attracted to you even more then. Does that make sense, guys? So final point was wise. You guys here who have grown up in these kind of areas here, as I said, you're going to wisen up a lot more faster and you're going to mature a lot more quicker than your other sets of peers. So I saw this from a young age. I was thinking, oh man, you know, I've got all these bad cards that I've got to deal with in life. You know, one of them is, for example, growing up in an area like this. But I knew full well, right, later on down the line, when I actually develop my character and develop, you know, myself as a person, I can take a lot of the lessons from these kind of areas here and actually progress in life. So that's really important. That right there, right, when you mature faster than your other sets of people, then women are going to be drawn and inclined towards you. So I hope that makes sense, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.